So hi everyone, my name is Richard Billington. I am the subject group leader for the Biological Sciences cluster of degree programs. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about the biology degrees. Louise and I didn't talk about this before, but it seems we're going to say roughly the same things for both marine and kind of terrestrial habitats, which is really interesting. So we're quite active on social media. So I've got up here our Instagram and Twitter links, handles, whatever, usernames, whatever they are. Please feel free to have a look at those. It gives you a really good idea of what we get up to, with students, what we get up to in the field. It's just a really good way of finding out what we do. So I'm going the other way around from Louise here. I'm going to start off with the degrees. So we offer 4 different undergraduate degrees. These are BSc degrees, 3 years full time. And all of our degrees come with an optional placement year, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and also a year abroad. So we offer the chance to our students to go and study in whatever country they want, actually, in their second year. So they can do their second year wherever they like. And all of our degrees contain a foundation route as well. So if you have slightly unusual qualifications, then you can still come onto the degrees. You just do a year before, and we bring you up to speed. We bring you up to the level that you would need to be to study on the degrees. So our degrees are quite diverse. So as Mary's already said, we have animal behaviour and welfare, which talks about the reasons why animals behave in the way they do, and the physiology of that, but also the welfare side, be that for wild animals or be that for captive animals. Conservation biology, much more sort of ecology focused, and really answering those kind of really difficult questions about how do we as mankind, how do we conserve biology around the world? Biological sciences is a very broad degree, so everything from atoms right up to ecosystems. So really the kind of the whole of biology. And we've also got a kind of classic zoology degree. In terms of master's programs, we've got 2 master's programs, and again, these master's programs are they're addressing kind of like the major questions that we have at the moment. How do we sustainable aquaculture systems? How do we actually sustainably feed a growing population in the world? Be that through finfish, things like tuna and salmon, be that through crustaceans like shrimp and things, but also down to the kind of new technologies, things like farming seaweeds, farming algae. Our other master's program is zoo conservation biology, which again looks at a massive societal problem. How do we conserve biology? How do we conserve species? And how do we do that using zoos? So really kind of big societal questions that we're trying to answer with these degrees. Now, I'm sure that you could look at the website and actually find that information, but I just wanted to kind of put it there to start with. And I guess that really the kind of question that I'm trying to answer today is what is special about Plymouth, and why is Plymouth a good place for students from anywhere in the world to do their degree? So I've taken this photo. I've stolen it from Google Maps, I'm afraid. This is Plymouth in the centre here. And this is roughly where you can get to within an hour of Plymouth. This is roughly where we can get students to in a coach within an hour of Plymouth. Now, this covers a huge range of habitats. Plymouth is just in one of the best places in the UK to do biology. We've got biology on our doorstep. Louise was talking about the fact it's 20 minutes down to the seashore. During these times of COVID, we've been unable to take students out on buses, but what we've been able to do is we've been able to replace the things that we would have done with local field trips, so just within the city. So we've been down on the Rocky Shore, which has got an amazing biodiversity. We've been in the parks of Plymouth, which have a great biodiversity. Within 20 minutes, you can be down on Wembury Beach, which is one of the kind of best studied Rocky Shore habitats in this whole coast. Is lovely Rocky Shore. Within an hour, you can be out on the sandy beaches of Cornwall. You can be out on the English Riviera, as they call it, over here in Paignton and Torquay. You can be down on the amazing shingle ridge at Slapton down here. Also, we've got other habitats. You've got these amazing agricultural habitats of the South Hams, and up here we've got Dartmoor. And literally Dartmoor is 20 minutes away from the really kind of high heathland habitats to these really impacted areas. This is where most of the china comes from. So if you're drinking a cup of coffee at the moment, your china coffee cup will probably have a little bit of that area of the world in it, because they use Dartmoor china clay to add to china from all around the world. We can be on the North Cornish coast, just up here, within an hour. So we are just in the best place to do biology. But it's not just that about Plymouth. Various other things. We really focus on practical skills training. We are trying to generate the next generation of scientists, and we understand that biology is a practical subject. There are some theoretical biologists, but most biologists are practical in some way. Now, our degrees are accredited by the Royal Society of Biology, and as part of that, we have to provide our students with a skills development portfolio, such that when they come out of their degree, they've got a set of core skills, key competencies that a biologist should have, and those competencies have been assessed by the Royal Society of Biology as those that industry would need from a graduate. So we really focus on getting students doing stuff, and we can use those local environments. We have day trips out to various places within a few minutes of Plymouth. So we can get students out into the field, we can get students into our labs, and we've got a huge variety of well-equipped labs, from, as Mary said, greenhouses right up to kind of molecular biology labs. We've got wet labs, we've got aquaria, we've got just about everything. We've got a huge amount of field equipment as well. The other thing is field courses. So one of the things that we think is fundamental for students is that they experience going away for a week or so and actually working in the field for the whole week. If you're going to be a practical biologist, this is one of the things you're going to have to do. And it does put them out of their comfort zone. And this is also part of the learning experience as we think about it. And these are currently included as part of the fees of the degree. So they don't have to contribute anything to these. And we go to places like, where do we go? Costa Rica, the Azores, Holland, Spain, all sorts of places around the world. And they're also really good kind of bonding experiences for the students. So this is a photo from the Azores field course a few years back. And this group really kind of came together as a group. They really got to know each other. And it was a really cool experience for them. This is at the end of a very long day. And you can see there are actually quite a lot of real smiles in that. They were really having a lot of fun in that. As I said, one of the things we try to do is one of the things we do is we turn students into independent scientists. And one of the kind of fundamental things about that is research projects. Now, it doesn't matter if you're doing a BSc degree or a master's degree, and also placement years. The whole point is about projects. Can you be an independent scientist? This is giving students the skills that they require to be able to go on and get a job afterwards. And as you'll see a little bit later when I talk about the diversity of staff that we have, then you can do projects on almost anything. There are loads and loads of different things that you can do projects on, because our staff are so diverse that we've got so many different research interests that you could do a project in the field on bumblebees, but you could also do a molecular biology project in the lab on fungus, for example. And actually some of our students end up publishing their work. I've just given a couple of examples here. This is a paper from a few years ago with Mary, who spoke earlier. We've got a couple of members of staff here, and then all these people in the middle are students who actually collected that data. And that's really useful. I mean, these students are going to have a paper from their degree, which is really unusual. So really important. And it just gives them that experience and the skills that they need to go into that job market. We also got loads of other sort of added things. So particularly our library is very good, but also we've got this wonderful facility called LABplus. So LABplus is an unusual thing. We think it's probably the only example of this in any non-medical setting in the UK. So it's a virtual laboratory, and it's based on boxes, and students can go up whenever they like And this box might be on the identification of invertebrates. So maybe students have to go on a field course or a field day, and they actually want to kind of get an idea about how to identify invertebrates. So what we have here is a box, and they can go and look at some specimens of invertebrates, and they can get themselves some knowledge before they go. Or if they've struggled on that day or that field course, or they've missed it because they were ill or something, then we've got that resource available to them. And there's everything in here, from kind of like physical geography right up to kind of biomedical sciences. We've got a bit of everything in that room. It's a really, really amazing resource. And students really, really appreciate it. I guess, though, that the thing that's really important about our school, or about the group, the biological sciences group, are the people. So we are based on people, and our degrees are based on people. We're very, very reactive to changes. So if we get new members of staff in, we will try and get them teaching about what they're interested in, what they do their research on. So real research-led teaching, and our degrees evolve all the time because of this. So I'm just going to pick out a few examples, and we've got like a huge range, and I don't even know where to start here. So Alex is a zoologist. He comes to us from Canada via most of the world, it seems. He's worked all around the world. Who have we got? We've got Mike, who's an evolutionary biologist from Australia. We've got Bruno. Bruno needs a map because he came to us from Portugal via Australia, and he looks at the evolution of vision in reptiles. Victor came to us from Mexico. He's a food scientist. Audesh from India is a toxicologist, an environmental toxicologist, particularly working on things like radioactivity in the environment. So really, really interesting. Rob also needs a map. He came to us from Costa Rica via Australia. And Rob has been really at the forefront of kind of plotting how wildlife diseases spread in populations, particularly with amphibians. So he's been looking at amphibian declines with various different fungal diseases. We've got Rich, who's a microbiologist. He does really clever stuff with using bacteria for mining, for getting uranium out of rocks. It's way over my head, and it's a bit clever. We've got molecular ecologists like Mary and John and Chiara, who comes to us from Italy. We've got Dan, who works on fish food. So he works on generating diets for fish in kind of just aquaculture type settings. We've got James, who's just joined us actually. So James has been working in Switzerland at ETH, and he's again a community ecologist who's been working in the Alps. So this group of staff is really what defines us, and it's really what defines our degrees. So hopefully I've shown you that there's a really kind of broad level of interest and just different things that you can do. So you really can do anything. When we talk about projects, you can do just about anything across biology. And we've also got, as Louise said, we've got loads of other kind of staff across the school who can help with that as well. The other thing is our links. Because we come from very different backgrounds, because we've got very different interests, we've got huge amount of links to industry, to charities, so to aquaculture companies. This is Loch Jewett, who do all the really good smoked salmon. We've got Paynton Zoo, which is really useful for our animal behaviour and welfare, our zoology and our zoo conservation biology degrees and masters. We've got local companies like More Trees, who are trying to kind of repopulate the local area with native trees. And again, places like the Eden Project, which you may have heard of. And also, we benefit from all of those kind of links that the marine biologists have as well.